Hi everyone, and welcome to Consulus Global Circle. We're so glad that you have joined us. Since COVID-19 struck, we resolved to do more to share our solutions openly with individuals, organizations, and communities to help them transform in an increasingly uncertain and complex world. Since then, we are grateful for the many conversations we have had with leaders around the world. Over the past 10 months, we have had 4 global circles covering issues such as personal development, leadership development, digital transformation, and places of purpose. We have featured over 24 leaders and subject matter experts from Asia, Europe, Oceania, North and South America, garnering 11,290 views and saw 3,117 likes and shares. Our 5 global surveys saw participants from 34 different countries. We have learned something from the past programs, and that is we can see the future better if we see it with others too. This is why we like to announce a new name for this series, Consulus Worldview. Through Consulus Worldview, we seek to bring together practitioners, leaders, to share about global issues and solutions, to expand our shared worldview, and to shape a better economy by design. Today, our worldview discussion will be about the strategic role of purpose in shaping innovation and growth. Applying purpose as a strategic principle is at the heart of Consulus' mission to shape a better economy by design. The more a company is driven by purpose, the greater will be the drive to be sustainable and serve the common good, hence resulting in a greater impact for positive change. Having said this, implementing purpose as strategy is easier said than done. Over 17 years, through analyzing how companies big and small define and implement the principle of purpose, we have come to understand what will or will not work to drive innovation and growth. Most people, however, will agree that purpose matters. The question is, how can businesses apply it effectively throughout the entire organization? And is purpose applicable only to large organizations with the luxury of resources and time? To dive deeper into the subject, I've invited some friends who lead a variety of organizations of different scale. First, we have Mr. Heng, Chairman of Temasek, one of the largest investment firms in the world. He will share with us more about why purpose matters and what is the most important thing that leaders have to take note to ensure systemic adoption.
Companies operate in the community, and the well-being of the community is fundamental to the continuing existence of the company. There is no business to be done on a dead planet, and the prospects for any company would be poor if the community is sick. In today's situation, you say nobody is safe until everybody is safe. So all companies should ask themselves the question, beyond profits and good returns to shareholders, do businesses have a higher purpose? In my younger days, I read Konosuke Matsushita, the founder of the company we know as Panasonic today. And he said, profit in itself is not the ultimate goal of an enterprise. And more basic is the effort to improve human life through enterprise management. And profit becomes important and necessary only to better pursue this basic mission. Matsushita's purpose is also very much in line with the purpose of businesses that were set up by a group called the Quakers. And the guiding principle to them is to seek for others the best life of which they are capable. So every person in a company, from the CEO to the lowest employee, must know the purpose of his company and be guided by this North Star. So likewise, if we are chairing an organization, or we are CEO of an organization, or we belong to the C-suite, as we define our purpose, we must also translate that in language which people down the line can understand. So what does it mean to people 2-3 layers down the line? The kind of work which they do, how does that fit in to that purpose? Otherwise, as you say, it's just a woolly aspirational statement. So for different enterprises, it meant different ways in which you can express it, but you should be able to express it like a bricklayer. The bricklayer will not think that he's only just a bricklayer, but also bigger purpose is building that cathedral. Now, if we are able to make our employees fully understand the purpose which we have and how they can play a role in delivering that purpose, then we will truly have a purpose-driven company. And with that, I'm very sure that the company will move on from success to success.
Mr. Lim talks about the importance of making sure that every employee understands a company's purpose and how their work impacts the entire business. In our experience, it's important to take a comprehensive approach to define purpose, to use data-driven methods to assess what inherent values drive the organization, and to understand how these values impact its ability, influence, and differentiation. Our method of designing a purpose model has been applied all over the world since 2004. And I'd like to share the next video to explain how we do this.
When a friend in doubt and needing direction comes up to you and asks what should he or she do with his or her life, what do? You respond with deep personal responsibility to listen, to guide your friend in considering his thoughts thoroughly, and to help him clarify his direction because that is what a friend does. Now, imagine doing the same for a group of people, an organization. To deeply listen to everyone, to help clarify thoughts and align directions, and to help them discover the best way forward. What a responsibility that carries. This is what we experience every time we help organizations discover their purpose. Something akin to a unique piece of art, a masterpiece in the making. And the process of discovering an inherent and collective purpose is extremely fragile. It can be easily dictated by leaders or hijacked by stronger voices. Or it can easily be undermined by preconceived ideas or conclusions. Although initially well-intentioned, they may lead to a generic form of purpose that almost anyone can adopt or that functions no more than an inspirational message. We've learned from 17 years that to help an organization find its unique voice, we have to make a deeply engaged effort to find that purpose with everyone involved. Only through collective involvement can we strive to find a deeply unique and enduring purpose, the best that only that particular organization can be. How do we help organizations find their purpose? We first begin by listening to the personal journeys of the leaders, and what led them here, and what are their visions of the future ahead. Then, we engage with the ecosystem of people, involving the employees, customers, and even partners to understand how they work, their relationships, and their level of trust. More importantly, to observe how they engage around problems and situations. Then, we dive deeply into understanding the complexities of their situation, their environment, and their performance by taking a hard look at their data, processes, and documents. And we share our insights and advice with brutal honesty, just like what you would do for your friend. From almost 2 decades of reviewing comprehensive data sets and relationships in hundreds of organizations operating in different complex environments, we've learned that regardless of the environment, an organization's purpose and impact can be built around a deep understanding of its ability, its influence and beliefs, and how it shapes its differentiation as it moves forward. Purpose is not just meant as an inspirational phrase on the wall, but should be able to inspire common action. It's meant to move everyone forward in extraordinary ways. For purpose to propel your organization, it should shape your daily work in clear and deliberate ways. It should shape your standards of quality through embedded values and guide beliefs and relationships. And if your organization's purpose inspires the collective contribution of many towards shaping a unique environment and place in the world, then you have a strategy in place to shape purpose-driven growth. Every day, by helping others to discover and live out their purpose, we are fulfilling our own purpose.
When executed well, a strategic purpose model can provide clarity and drive scalability. Our next speaker is Jarvis Koh, Managing Director of Infinite Transports, a social enterprise in the logistics sector that seeks to provide dignified employment for ex-offenders. Jarvis shares about the clarity he gained in direction and decision-making after we collaborated with him to formulate a purpose model to shape his business plans.
I realized that I'm much more firm knowing where is my direction is, whereas previously no one guided, and then due to my own experience, I'm limited editions, they call that. So I couldn't spearhead my whole company to another level. I come to a crossroad, I don't know what to do, and I'm glad with it, or I just want to push it to another level. So after going through all these kind of things, finally I am very sure about my directions and what I'm going to do. But also I need teams to work with me, and one man can't carry much because my team is growing bigger and bigger. In the past, I have a personal touch with my staff, and now I've realized that because my team is growing so big that I do not have the chance to, one by one to go through everyone.
Having a purpose model to guide strategic growth is a start. The next important thing is to shape the organizational culture. You may have heard the phrase, culture eats strategy for breakfast. So how can you ensure that you continue to shape successive generations of leaders to drive a purpose-driven culture? How do you know if what you do is delivering what we call purpose-led dividends in terms of growing impact and attracting talent? What we have learned is, for a purpose-driven strategy to have longevity, it needs to be anchored and embedded into the organizational beliefs and systems. This requires consistent effort, a deep systemic awareness, and an ecosystem cultural design. From our work globally, from serving a diversity of organizations, from the US to Singapore, we've found a way. To talk more about this, I'd like to pass on to Rebecca, our Deputy Head for Strategic Perspectives.
Thanks, Lawrence. As Lawrence shared, the best purpose-driven strategy can be undermined if not systematically applied throughout the organization. Let's learn about a systematic approach of looking at an organization in this next video.
From our transformation work with organizations large and small, we've seen that great culture is designed intentionally and daily through embedding purpose in all aspects of the organization. Like architects trying to design the best buildings. We've discovered that 9 essential building blocks enable an organization's culture to thrive with purpose. Like any well-built building, it has pillars acting as a support structure of the organization, each containing 3 essential building blocks. The first set of 3 building blocks form the foundational pillar and marks the very beginning of any viable enterprise. This includes how an organization is shaped by its founder, how deeply aware is it of its purpose, and how it creates inspired products or solutions. The second set of 3 building blocks form the succession pillar and matters greatly in shaping leadership and future growth. This includes how the leaders of an organization act with purpose, how it's governed intentionally, and how purpose shapes unique organizational know-how. The third set of 3 building blocks form the renewal pillar and shapes the organization's ability to learn and renew itself. This includes understanding whether the organization is attracting the right followers, such as staff or customers, how well it is fulfilling its promises, and how it actively works to improve in its practices. Ultimately, culture is a dynamic consequence of how organizations are designed with the conditions to enable excellence daily. By understanding the dynamics of these aspects, using this 9 dimensions framework, you can reliably assess whether your company's cultural system is shaping mediocrity or excellence.
As the 9 dimensions model has illustrated, when an organization is designed holistically, based on a clearly formulated purpose, it is easier to assess gaps and areas of weaknesses to improve upon, hence enhancing the organization's agility and scalability. To share about how purpose shaped their organizational model and ability to scale, let's invite Albert Goh, co-founder and chief operating officer of BeamMGo, a tech startup present in Singapore, Taiwan, Hong Kong, and the Philippines that does amazing work with migrant workers in their financial journey.
The crafting of the purpose and the mission has helped us reignite and broaden our focus so that we can see what areas of our business we can differentiate and expand to greater heights. As an example, I think we see this purpose empowering our staff and even our customers. We are a lot more intentional and deliberate in handling our project and seeing things now, not just with the lens of like how we did before. Now we're looking at things more holistically. And I see this purpose, vision, and our strategy being communicated to the new people that are joining our team. A lot of them, not even the new ones that have come who are in the tech and IT team, are not even Filipinos. But this purpose statement and me or John being critical in aligning the staff so that they understand the purpose is important so that they can, not just meet the basic expectations, but deliver or over-deliver. Because that's what it would take for us to be great and for us to fast track the progress and also keep up with the other, let's say, mobile wallets or financial technology startups and tech companies out there. And speed is important, but speed without a purpose, if you don't have the purpose, it's hard for you to move fast and to expect your team to deliver exponentially.
From Albert's experience, it is clear that an organization's practices, if shaped by purpose and if done right, can help a company improve speed of execution and purposefully scale for growth. Now, with a clearly formulated purpose and an organization systematically designed around this purpose, there is one final, most crucial aspect that a purpose-driven approach requires. The most successful companies are able to get their customers excited about their purpose and to feel part of shaping this purpose together. But how to create such alignment and sense of shared purpose with your customers? Well, by communicating your purpose through a brand narrative that resonates with them and invites them to build a relationship with you. Let's learn about an approach in this next video.
Insanely great experiences do not happen by chance. We know who the great ones are, but do we know what makes them purposefully great? From our experience, here's what we have learned. We call this the 4 frames of creating great experiences with purpose. First, great brands are very good at framing the experience. They are super clear about their purpose and the issues that matter to you. Apple is about user experience and simplicity. Tesla is about the next big thing in electric cars. Second, great brands are very intentional at designing their experiences to condition you to connect deeper with their purpose. Tesla argues about saving the planet while demonstrating how innovation and technology can guide you there. Third, intelligent brands know that ultimately, it is about engagement that lends credibility to their messaging. In the Apple Store, you have a Genius Bar, where they do not attempt to sell, but seek to help you solve your problems. Fourth, if the first 3 frames are done well, the last mile of great delivery and service follow-through reinforces the framing of purpose that has built a bond with you in the process. So every frame of the experience is purpose interacting with you.
By shaping your brand narrative in this way, you can reshape beliefs and redefine relationships with your customers. To share her experience about how designing a purpose-driven narrative has transformed the bank's relationship with their Bruneian customers, let's invite Nurul Akmal Jafar, Chief Marketing Officer of BIBD, the largest bank in Brunei.
We embarked on that journey in 2011-2012 when we wanted to rebrand our logos and our taglines with Brunei and hard immersed into our branding. One key thing that really protrudes was we have no connection at all with our customers. We feel so detached. We just like any other bank who is cold and corporate-ish. We didn't have any sense of purpose. The values embedded in our staff were just a job. there is no heart and passion in it. So when we see that, what was also alarming was the demographics of our customer base. It was mainly the elderlies, because I think the young ones or the youth could not relate to BIBD, and it is also seen as a government bank. Nothing wrong with it, but it is seen as government employees bank, where they have to bank with us. By hook or by crook, they just have to bank with us. So that is not what we want. We want people to bank with us because they see value in us. We want people to bank with us because they can relate to us. We want people to bank with us because they feel that we are the partner for their journey. Because at the end of the day, a bank will evolve with everyone's life. No matter what status they are, no matter student or high-ranking officials, we will evolve around their lives. So when we did that rebranding and having a discussion with Consulus, we want to bring what do Bruneians value in their lives, especially being a Bruneian. It is really about relationship that can grow with them, relationship that can look after them, relationship that can oversee their aspiration and help them grow their aspirations into a reality. So when we see this being laid out on the table, and we have to ask ourselves, being Bruneians, why are we not immersing this into our work values? Why are we not walking the talk? Why are we not wanting to treat people as how we want to be treated? So this is where Bruneian at Heart really resonates well when we had that workshop. And even though we had a lot of challenges, opposition, but we were true to our intent, because we want this bank to be a bank of purpose, rooted to our local values, and proud to be served by our own people for the people. So the brand experience has to be how the Bruneians want to be treated, how we want to be treated. And to me, there is no other differentiator, because service is maybe a corporate word, but service with passion is what we feel will be our differentiator.
From Nuru's experience, we see how creating a purpose-driven brand narrative that focuses on connecting to your company's values with that of its customers can help differentiate and enable companies to grow through building a more authentic relationship with their customers. Now, is a purpose-driven strategy only relevant to companies? Let's go back to Lawrence to see how far purpose can be applied to shape a difference.
Thanks, Rebecca, and our friends who have poured their hearts out to tell us their stories and their perspectives on how they have applied purpose in a strategic way to drive extraordinary growth. What we have heard is very much in line with our own discovery about purpose over 17 years, and that is taking time to find and define an existential purpose is the secret to driving extraordinary human effort. But then again, that alone is not enough. For purpose to have an impact, it requires an ecosystem design that can embed purpose in all that you do and unite people through common action. Finally, how do you know that it is working out? You start to experience a culture of innovation and growth, all consequences of a well-implemented, purpose-driven strategy. Right behind me is the skyline of Singapore, a small city-state with limited natural resources, but now one of the most successful nations in the world. Purpose applies to not just individuals or companies, but countries too. Let's invite Mr. Lim back to share his perspective on how purpose transforms Singapore and why the same purpose has to drive the companies under Temasek Holdings.
Singapore's founding leaders were very clear in their purpose. Mr. Lee Kuan Yew made a very simple and yet very profound statement in a speech on the 27th of May 1965, shortly before Singapore separated from Malaysia. And this was in the Malaysian Parliament. And he said, "My business is the people's happiness." One short, simple sentence, but that defined the purpose he had, and that is the people's happiness. And this was restated in the proclamation of Singapore's independence. And all of us Singaporeans know our national pledge. And indeed, happiness is core to the national pledge that we recite. Now, in the context of the 1960s, what did happiness mean to the people? It meant jobs, housing, education, healthcare. And it was indeed in pursuit of the people's happiness by creating jobs that the Singapore government founded a number of enterprises. But very soon, the Singapore government realized that it is not the business of regulators to also operate businesses. And that was why Temasek Holdings was formed. And all these enterprises came under Temasek Holdings. And the government charged Temasek Holdings with operating on a fully commercial basis. So our portfolio companies must not forget our origins and why we were set up. What is it that we do that would enhance the people's happiness?
Mr. Lim attributes Singapore's success to Mr. Lee Kuan Yew's sense of purpose and his systemic design to make it work, and emphasizes why Temasek companies have to remember their purpose-driven roots to continue to contribute to Singapore's present and future. As we have heard, defining purpose is one thing. The next most important thing is to do this in a systemic way consistently, to make it work at all levels of the organization. If defined, designed, and embedded well, it can have a powerful impact to change the destiny of your organization or even a nation. I hope, like myself, you have seen things in a new light today from our Consulus Worldview program. May you find that purpose to shape the world. Thank you.